we did a great marketing job, in my opinion. My team did a great marketing job. For me, it's been like, obviously, it's been always about sales, right? I'm a sales guy, and I was like, always, how can you scale, right? At the end, is like, how do I get in more word of mouth? How do I get in more people's computer, right? And marketing is being crucial for us.
Hey guys, welcome to the Grow IT podcast. Your host here, Alessandro Cutri, joined today by friend Benedito. We'll be diving into his story, a little bit about his company, Climate Trade, and much more. So definitely make sure to stick around. But without further ado, I'll just pass it on over to you, Fran. If you could just introduce yourself and tell the audience a little bit about your story and how you got to where you are today.
Thank you, Alessandro. Thanks for the invitation. And well, it's been already a 6 year journey since we started. My previous job was at one bank, so I've been banker for 15 years. Before that, I was banker,
Hmm.
and before being banker, I was very young entrepreneur. So I created my first startup when I was 17, in the dot-com era, and it was like pretty. I saw many things in that, and I learned a lot from the bubble and from the dot-com and the first entrepreneurship I did. Well, I ended up working for a bank and technology back again to my life in blockchain, especially very early. So my bank was the leading bank in technology worldwide, and I don't know, it was like quite coincidence that I got back into technology. I don't believe in coincidences. In 2017, yeah, I'm like about uh, looking at new trends, and I was like very worried in advance. So I was very worried about climate. And at some point, I was thinking that every day, like, or every week, I was like having the run there about climate and what was
Hmm.
gonna happen with us and the planet and all that, and which solutions could be funded to. Because as a banker, I was funding, let's say, multiple type of projects, and some of them were projects for biomass and
Yeah.
renewable energy and all that. So one day we got pregnant, and then I got more worried about what we were gonna leave for our future generations. And
Hmm.
basically, I thought on, okay, if we want to solve the problem, we need funding. But the banks are not gonna give funding to scientists, to technologists that easy, right? It
Yeah.
is more capital risk capital. So I thought to create a it was blockchain and crypto. So I thought to create a crypto to create a fund, global fund with capital from multiple sources
Hmm.
that could bring funding to those projects. Then, while I was building that paper, let's say, I got in touch with some people that was working the climate space. One of
Yeah.
my co-founders who was in the UN, and we learned about the carbon markets. I learned about the carbon markets and how the UN created that system in 1997 to bring life what was projects with that type of certificates. And
Yeah.
then I said, okay, we need a marketplace. There is no marketplace worldwide, and that like
Yeah.
any other broker OTC's let's say market, it needs a marketplace.
Hmm.
So we built Climate Trade. We were awarded by the UN in 2018, and that's how the journey started.
Wow. That's so interesting, right? It's always I love the stories of, founders who go through something and then it inspires them to want to, basically build something, right? It's like, hey, I have this
Yep.
issue that's going on and it's like I'm trying to fix it. And that's the beautiful thing about entrepreneurship, right? And being able to tackle those big problems, right? And you guys obviously are tackling one of those big problems itself. Out of curiosity, just for the audience that's listening to this, like what type of, companies would you say you guys, are typically, working with at Climate Trade? Like, what does that ideal, client profile typically look for you guys?
Well, from medium-sized enterprises to large enterprises, but really is more and I mean, consider that we created a market. Let's say we created a digital market, and the product market fit and finding our buyer persona, it was not the buyer persona, it was not difficult, but the product market fit, it's been complicated, right? Because
Hmm.
until so I've been a salesman, like while I was in the bank, and so the companies are medium-sized enterprises, but obviously when you think who are you gonna sell CO2 certificates, you say,
Yeah.
okay, most polluting companies. So the first thing comes to your mind is oil and gas companies, right? So say,
Hmm.
okay, oil and gas companies, huge carbon footprint, they need to buy. Nah, that's not exactly right because they wanna sometimes eat all the cake and they wanna do their own thing and they don't wanna go through a bro. They rather prefer bring someone in-house, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, you know, medium-sized enterprises and people that are trying to sell to other medium-sized or small enterprises that don't want to generate the catalog we have. We have the largest catalog of carbon credits and certificates of energy in the world.
Hmm.
So basically, what we are trying to be, and we were called as Business Insider the Amazon for climate, we want to build that platform where you, when you think into climate, into any attribute that you need from climate, you can go
Yeah.
to climate trade and find, right?
Yeah.
So we have 5,000 B2B users in the platform today,
Hmm.
500,000 people coming to climate trade every year,
Wow.
and B2B. So, well, obviously there will be some individuals also,
Yeah. Yeah.
but basically medium-sized enterprises
Got
and
it.
some large ones that are not that that have not listed, I would say, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Companies that are large but are not listed and don't have
So
that super sustainability managers there.
yeah, yeah. So what was it? I mean, you guys seem like you've had some expansive growth. What is it that's maybe helped you guys? I mean, obviously you guys have a very unique product, which definitely will help in that growth itself. But outside of that, what do you feel like has maybe been one of the big catalysts that have gotten you to those 5,000 users already?
We did a great marketing job, in my
Mm.
opinion. My team did a great marketing job. For me, it's been like, obviously, it's been always about sales, right? I'm a sales guy.
Yeah.
And I was like, always, at the end is, how can you get, how can you scale, right? At the end is like, how do I get in more word of mouth? How do I get in more people's uh, um, computer, right?
Yeah.
And marketing is being crucial for us. So
Yeah.
we hit it first because we were very early, too early probably, but anyways, we were early, still alive. So obviously we did it well, and we navigated all the learnings when there was no market, right?
Mm.
And then you position yourself as leader, right?
Yeah.
So it is important to do a good branding. It is important to do a good positioning in the right channels.
Yeah.
So obviously for me it's not important Instagram, but it's important LinkedIn and it's important X, right? Or
Yeah.
former Twitter.
Yeah.
It is important to go to the right events.
Yeah.
It is important to be in the right podcast or in the right, and then it is important to do the right papers, right?
Yeah.
The right papers and become a reference in the market and a voice reference in the market. So for me, what helped us a lot to grow is being marketing, basically,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And
So
it's a great point, right? Because you can have the best product in the world sometimes, but if you don't have the good marketing and the engine behind the business, which is the acquisition side of things, it could take a lot longer to grow, right? And that's the biggest thing, right? Because product-led growth, right? If you have a really good product, you can do this product-led growth, but it's very slow. You have to just rely upon only referrals and this that are coming. But when you add that marketing engine, right? It can speed things up a lot quicker, to your point. And so,
and perseverance obviously is like for me is key, no? I mean, people give up sometimes easy, right?
Oh yeah.
And at the end is like you're gonna have pain moments, very big pain moments, because in the startup world is, I mean, I've been banker 15 years, leading teams in this. I was going to the regions that nobody wanted to go because they took me to make perform areas that were underperforming always,
Yeah.
and it was hard, right? But when I got into this, I said, okay, I thought that was hard, right? This is hard, right? So I remember one speech of the NVIDIA CEO, and he says, hey, if you were 28 and you were with your co-founder, what would you build? And he say nothing, right? Because it is fucking hard, right?
Yeah.
So at the end, it's like, so I
Yeah.
would, so at the end, this is about perseverance always.
Yeah.
It's like because if you are the founder and you are the visionary on your business and you really truly believe that what you are doing is and obviously you have to get prepared, right? It's not a, as we say in Spain, a damn motivated dam doesn't work, right? So
Yeah.
you have to know what you're doing. It may be not the right timing, but if you know that that's gonna come, it's about perseverance no matter what, right?
Yeah.
And you have to keep going and keep learning. And once you get to the point, and you will pass through so many learnings that will help you achieve what you want to achieve, for
Yeah.
sure.
No, I couldn't agree more, man. I think it's in every facet, right? I think every founder, you have to realize that if you're starting a company, you're never it's growth is never linear, right? It is
Totally.
boom, 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 and then it's like, so you're always having to have that perseverance and have that, mental fortitude to be able to withstand the ups and downs that come with the journey, right? I was listening to Elon Musk, talk about the fact that he thought, Tesla was going to go bankrupt three separate times, right? So there, every single, company, I feel like if you're building something, same thing with Jeff Bezos, right? These guys talked about, they thought, their companies were going to go bankrupt, and now they're some of the biggest companies in the world, right? And so, to your point,
Yeah.
you have to have that perseverance. You have to have that ability to keep going. And I talk to so many founders sometimes, or different people, and it's sad because, like, maybe they'll be, even for example, like marketing, like you were just talking about, it's one of those things that you have to test. You have to do a lot of things, right? You have to continue to innovate with it. And I'll talk to someone and they'll be like, yeah, I tried something and it didn't work, so marketing doesn't work for me. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, that is the worst
Exactly.
mindset
Exactly.
to have as a founder, because it does work. You just haven't tested enough. You haven't done enough, right? You haven't persevered enough, right? And so,
Obviously, every business has its particularities, but look, we bought a company 2 years ago in, as you were talking about Elon Musk, and people don't know that when he was going to go bankrupt, he bought the company of his cousins, Solar City,
mhm,
and that's the company that allowed him to gain time until the product was ready to become what Tesla is today, because he needed more cash flow, let's say, right?
yeah,
And at the end, it's like you said one thing that is very important: mental fortitude, right? Because when you get hit, and you're gonna get hit many times, as you said, it's not a linear, as you said. So totally agree. But you start developing your mental fortitude,
yeah,
and which is important is to find someone that can help you with that mental fortitude, because it is very complicated to be self-sufficient to learn
yeah,
on that mental fortitude. Obviously, there is people that is searching smaller goals, and people that is searching more ambitious goals, like
yeah,
Bezos or like Tesla, right? Or in my case, I mean, I could say, okay, I'm a company that makes X revenue and I'm good and I live well. Let's go, right? It's
yeah,
not what I want, right? I want to save the world for, and to change something for the better in terms of so many things we have to do in the climate space still,
yeah,
and I know we will do it, no matter how long it takes me. But what I mean is, you have to have that mental fortitude because there is people in the road that don't want, well, don't will, they won't agree with you,
Yeah.
investors that won't agree with you, and many things that, yeah, as I told you, we bought a company in Austria 2 years ago. The company was like losing users every month, and it was like a falling knife. And it's a B2C company, which it was complicated. Okay, it is
Yeah.
a complicated business, especially in the climate space. So, but we say, okay, no, no way. I mean, we have to turn this around. So I got one of my most trusted person as a managing director in that company, and we agreed on a strategy on how we thought it should work with marketing and growth hacking, and it worked.
Yeah.
And we turned it around last month
Wow.
after 1 year losing users.
Yeah.
And last month we got 20 new users, no churn,
Mm.
and so now it's just a matter of putting more in, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like because we got the math already working.
Yeah. That's beautiful.
And and
That's
and and, and
when
to
you've gotten that, when you've gotten the CAC to the customer LTV, it's like, whew, then you then
exact
that is
exact.
like the magic number that you have to be always
That's the
searching.
Eureka, right? That's the Eureka. And
Yeah.
2 years ago, my investors were like, "Why did you buy that company? You shouldn't buy the company, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah, we have to buy that company." And you know what happened? While we were passing one valley of death, that company was helping us to maintain the other one.
Mm.
And that's a lot of mental and destiny that happens when you are in the right path,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And the other day I was listening to Kimball Musk in Davos, and he was saying that he broke his neck when he was skiing, and that it was the most painful moment in his life, and he got more spiritual in that time, and in like connected to God and all that.
Hmm.
I believe, right?
Yeah.
So it made him change the perception. So when you are mentally strong, nothing can stop you, right?
I
So
couldn't agree
it's like
more.
there's one thing that one of my coach says is focus on the gap, and you're gonna have noise from people that can buy you, people that don't want you that goes well, uh, people that just have other opinions.
Yeah.
But if it's your company and it's your vision, and you might be wrong, yeah, but I mean, if you are wrong, okay, but that's
Start
I'd rather
again,
be wrong,
right?
right? Start effectively.
Yeah.
So I think it's very important to work spiritually, to be strong as a founder, because that's one of the things that will make the company succeed or not.
I totally agree with you, man. And it is important to tap into that, especially because it is it's a very spiritual thing, right? When you're building something and it's like you have this vision, right? That you don't nobody sees, right? But like you see where you can go with the company, and it's like you have to have so much faith and so much belief into that vision that you're willing to put everything into it to continue to go
Exactly.
and chase it, right? And it's one of those things that's very almost spiritual, something spiritual about it because of the fact that you're believing into something that's not there, right? The company that you
Exactly.
have isn't there yet, and you're having to put that faith in yourself and also in in the vision to continue to push through. But I did
100%.
want to touch on something, Francisco, just because I feel like this might be important for the audience. You mentioned a couple things. You mentioned you have a coach, and you have to have people. Like, what if a founder is looking to kind of develop their mental fortitude and become maybe just stronger as an individual so they can handle the journey? What are some actionable things that they can start doing to start to establish that?
I think that meditation is basic. So the problem we have is that we depend too much on the exterior, not in the inner self. So if you want to be much better as a founder, as an entrepreneur, or and just in life as a person, we have to dedicate a little bit more of time to our inner selves than we dedicate to the exterior. Because at the end, you depend on the emotions that you find in the exterior, and that balances you to the places that on that moment you are finding. And there is people that if one day is rainy, they are sad, or angry, and there is other day they sunny. Oh, today I'm happy. No, we have to work in ourselves to no
Yeah.
matter what happens, we are balanced. That's the
Yeah.
goal, right? So meditation helps you to not think for a moment for some time, and relax, enter another state that allows you to be more calm, more, and to be able to let's say to be more balanced, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
so when you get into meditations, that is easy. You can go to YouTube, and there's a lot of guided meditations. You start following people.
Yeah.
Just you like, oh, I like the voice of this guy or this woman, and I like this meditation. I'm gonna follow. Or I don't know how to meditate, so you go to a basic meditation session. You read, you listen to it, and maybe you can reach out to some people. I don't know. I mean, obviously, I started because for me it was very much coincidence, and I don't believe in coincidence. So I think it was
Yeah.
like something that had to happen. But I found my coach, which was my sensei. I made martial arts since I was a kid.
Mm.
So so it was my sensei of Aikido when 20 years ago. And when I was in my worst moment, at some point of when I was starting of a stress, we reencounter again by casualty.
Wow.
And then he became my coach, and he works with me now. He's my one of my biggest supports, and he's a great person, and taught me a lot of things, that because he's born for that. I mean, everyone, we are born for something. He's born for being that spiritual person, that coach, no? So I
Yeah.
think that everyone has to find someone who to talk to,
Yeah.
very a good person, and it's important to surround yourself with good people, because there is bad people around.
Yeah.
So and so there is important to find that good people always around yourself. Also, Elon Musk was saying that at some point, so that's a learning that he got,
Yeah.
because it happened to me. So sometimes people with a lot of big CVs and very long expertise, and 80% is more important being a good person than having a lot of good track record. If
Yeah.
you enter a bad person with bad energy in your team, that's gonna screw it up, right?
Yeah, totally agree, man. And that's some great advice. I think you look at every single, you talk about martial arts, or if you even look at boxing or UFC, or all these fighters, they all have a coach, right? None of them go in
100%.
without a coach. And they're very talented people. They're very talented, individuals, but everyone needs a mentor or a coach or someone to help them, be that
100%.
support system for you. And one of the biggest breakthroughs that I had in my business came from when I actually sought out a mentor and I got a mentor. And that was what gave me the breakthrough, right? And I always love learning from different mentors, different people, because there's so much information that you can learn, right? That you also don't have to stumble upon, right? A lot of times you
100%.
have all these people that make these mistakes, so you don't have to make them, right? And so I think that's
Exactly.
the biggest thing from
Exactly.
that itself. But Francisco, it's been an absolute pleasure getting a chance to talk with you, man, and getting a chance to dive into what you guys are doing at Climate Trade. It definitely sounds like something special. I love the mission. I love the passion that you have, and I'm very confident that you guys are going to continue to grow and continue to evolve, especially given the mindset that you have. If people are listening to this, man, they want to check you out. They want to check out maybe Climate Trade. What are some good ways to go and find you?
Well, climatetrade.com, always. Climatetrade.com is a good place. There is the marketplace. You can access it from there, so you can see what is open. So anyone is like, as I told you, we were called the Amazon for climate by Business Insider. So you can go there, market.climatetrade.com. They can reach out to LinkedIn or any other social platform. We are present. And yeah, maybe I'm sorry we didn't talk too much about the product. We talk a lot
No, I think
about
this is
other things,
perfect. I think this is
but
perfect. Yeah, yeah. No, no, I think
but
I think
sorry, go ahead.
no, I said I think people need to hear this message as well, because it's almost just important. It's one of those foundational principles that people overlook, right, in terms of the mindset. And I'm a geek about it, right? And so when you talk to me about it, we could go on hours and hours about it itself. But
Yeah,
no,
yeah, yeah, I love it. Me
yeah,
too.
yeah.
Me too. Me too.
But
That's
thank
great, man.
Yeah, yeah. Thanks again, Francisco. It's been a pleasure, man. If you guys did make it all the way to the end, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more content. Go check out Francisco and the team and check out what they're doing over there at Climate Trade. And we hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Take it easy and ciao, ciao.
Thank you, Alessandro.